Welcome everyone. It's that time again. It's Monday. It's our MBX interview series and we're here again. We have a very special event today. We're coming to you midday here in Sydney, Australia. It's a glorious day. I've got to show you what's happening outside. Geez, look, it's a beautiful day outside here in Cronulla. Everyone's at the beach. We're having a great time. But, you know, we're not here for that. We're here because we've got a very special guest today, all the way from California, just outside San Francisco. And I'm so excited to have a speaker here today because she's going to be telling us everything about relationships, everything about sex. So stay tuned because I know that's what you want to be hearing about. So guys, welcome to our MBX interview series. Arthur Bablis here. You know me. We've been doing this work now for the last 3 decades, 27 years in the field of complementary medicine, personal growth, human performance, and behavioral change. And really our mission is to help you rise up to be a better quality human being and for you to experience your light, your brilliance, your spirit, and to experience everything that life has to offer you here on this planet. I mean, we go on our journey when, you know, and we'll talk about that another time, but everyone's here going through whatever they need to go through because they're going through it. Everything happens the way it happens because it doesn't happen any other way. And so we're here today to talk about relationships and what can we take from the experiences that we've had in the past in order for us to do relationships better today. How can we start them right and make them flourish? And so if you're watching live, let us know where you're watching from. The hashtag live, we'd love to let our speaker know who's on here. And if you're watching on a replay as well, tell you hashtag replay. And if you've got any questions for our speaker, just put them in the chat and you never know, you might get a hot seat response. So anyway, what I want to do, I want to introduce this beautiful soul. Not only is she very, what's the word I'm looking for? She's a sex kitten. Maybe that's the one we should talk about. But that's a business, right? She is a Tantra master. She's a sex and relationships coach. She's a best-selling author. She comes from California. She's got a wonderful accent, South American accent as well too. And really, she's sold books. She's sold programs. She sees people all over. She's got retreats in Brazil. You're going to hear about that. And her expertise is actually helping people to build better quality relationships and to express themselves physically, emotionally, spiritually in that connection. So everyone, let's bring on down Alexsandra Marianetti, known as Divine Kicker. Come on down, Divine Kicker. Let's give her a round of applause. Hey! Let's stop all that. The Tantra Master is in the house. Now, I know we're going to have a conversation. Some people are going to say, you know what, get the sirens, go and call the police because I'm going crazy with this conversation, right? So, Alexsandra, let me call you Kiko because then that's how we talk to you. Michael Series in the house. Hi, Michael. Good to have you. Patricia's here. Crystal's here. Alexsandra, or Divine Kicker, great to have you here. Thank you so much for being here. Unmute yourself. Unmute yourself. You're mute. You're following instructions. Good now. Okay, you're in the house. Kicker, how are you?
Awesome. I'm doing great. And this is so exciting to be with you, Arthur. Arthur is also my teacher. And I had born and die many times in front of him. And he has helped me to be a better person with MBX Institute. So I am so grateful to have you in my life. And it's a true honor to be here and to share with all these people that are part of your community of how to have a better sex, better love, greater sex, love, and intimacy in your life, and how to create relationships where you feel seen, heard, and understood, and relationships where you're actually fulfilled and thriving. And it's possible.
Wow, all the words that you said there, seen, heard, understood. You know, relationships that are thriving, you know, that's, I mean, when you think about it, that's what everyone wants. I mean, Tony Robbins says, and we know it, right? Relationships are one area in your life that can give you the highest of the highs and the lowest of the lows in terms of your emotional experience. It's probably the greatest roller coaster ride that you'll ever go on in your life. And you know, we learn from the experiences, but hey, it's like anything in life. If you want to be able to do it better, you get a coach. You get someone who actually trains people to be able to do it better. And, you know, Kicker, that's what you do. You know, you got your best-selling author, you've got your programs, you're a tantric master, you got your retreats. Tell us the Kicker story. Let's find out a little bit about you first. How did you get to be doing what it is that you're doing right there, just outside of San Fran in California?
So I've been
Tell us your
in
story.
California for like over 20 years. Isn't that something? And I came here to learn English and up staying. I didn't know. I didn't know I was going to stay this long in California. So I'll tell you, my first 7 years in California were very hard. I was a financial director of a company in Brazil, was doing really well there, but it's a third world country. It's hard. It's very hard to make money in Brazil. I came here because I thought that I could do better. And well, I found myself in a crossroads at some point in my life. There I was with a baby in a foreign country, not speaking English well, was here for a year or so. And the father of my son at that time was not the nicest guy. For my first son was not the nicest guy in the world to me. And I was leaving that relationship, moving into a new apartment. And I remember like in those few months, I was just so tired of everything. I was scared. I was alone. I had a baby. I didn't speak English. I couldn't go back to my country. There was so much going on in my life at that time that was not going, right? And he drops me in this apartment and full of boxes at night. The manager said, we can't turn the lights on tonight. I had the baby with me. My son was about a year and a half. And I always get emotional with this story because I go back there to that moment because that was a very hard moment in my life. I look at my baby and I go, oh my God, I can't keep having relationships that don't work. I need to get off this abusive cycle. I need to get off this pain. I need to create a life where my son is safe, where we are doing good. You can feel the pain that I felt in that moment. I had my baby. All I had to give to my baby that night was breast milk. I didn't have anything else. And I was devastated. And I decided, and I promised my son at that night that I would do better, that I would create a life where we both would thrive, where we both would live better. And that's where the journey of self-discovery, of healing, of creating a fantastic life started. Because after that, I started to be a massage therapist, I became a yoga teacher, and I got all this training. And then I met my first Tantra master, and he changed my life. And I discovered that I could be well loved. And then I had a wonderful husband, and then I had a wonderful growth. Like everything changed, everything blossomed in my life. And I learned that I was worthy of love, that I deserved to be loved. And I started with this commitment to learn everything about creating fantastic relationships. And until today, I'm always learning and creating new ways to have people to have the best relationships in their lives, because I believe that when your relationships are not working, you're miserable. You can fool yourself and say, oh, I'll wait until the kids get older, until blah, 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 until this and that, but you're postponing your life. You're not living a fulfilling life. If you have to go home and your home is not a happy place, if you have to go home and then you're in the couch alone again, if you have to go home and you don't want to be around your spouse, or some people, they get to go home and then they're driving around the block because they don't want to go home and they keep trying to be busy so they don't have to be home with their spouses. That's not the life you deserve to have. You deserve more. And for those people that now the kids got out, the kids went away and they went to college, the house is empty, and now you're looking at each other and saying, oh, now what? I don't like you anymore. I don't know what to do. Then you call me. And that's where I come in and I rock your life. Like
that's really cool. It's interesting.
Rekindle the passion, the love, and intimacy, because the person you spend all those years with is the person you want to create a fantastic relationship with. At least try with who you are with first. And then
look, Kika, yeah, look, a number of things. I'm taking notes while I'm listening to you, right? Because, you know, we're both learning here, right? You know, it's like every time I have a chat with you, there's so much to learn. And I first have to acknowledge you for your story. Thank you so much for sharing your story and sharing the moment where you made that decision, because I think in everyone's life, no matter what area in the life they're experiencing a challenge, or the turbulent years, or the perturbation point, as we call it, a moment of truth, whether it's the health, the career, the relationships. There comes a time when they need to make a decision to change. Like, how bad does life need to get for you to look in the mirror and say, you know what, no more, I deserve better, and my family deserves better, my kids deserve better. And from that moment, that was like a demarcation point. It was a signature moment, right? Where you said, that's it, no more, I'm going to be better. And so you decided to, and you said, I don't want to have relationships like this again. And so you decided to learn as much as you can about relationships, about expressing yourself, loving yourself, to be able to love others. How can you give love if you don't have love for yourself? And so you went on this journey, finding in Tantra Master and all the learnings that you have. And like, if I go through this list of everything you've done, from all, your yoga, your meditations, your mindfulness, your Tantra, all the stuff with Tony Robbins, Brendan Bashar with us, you've done more than me. We're just, saying a lot. And then you said, right, that you talked about, people postpone their life, and they do. I love that, what you mentioned, that how many people have got their life on hold, they've postponed it thinking it'll get better, but they're not doing anything about it right now. And you mentioned, you get kids that grow up, and then, because people are together, all right? You got your kids, they keep you together, perhaps, they go to school, and once they're older doing their own thing, you're starting to realize, is this the person I want to spend my life with, or have we been working on it? How do we get to somewhere? And it's interesting, because when we met about 4 years ago, that's exactly what I was going through. At that moment, my kids finished school, going off to university, and my ex-wife and I then were just exploring what's next for us. And I still remember that, I met you on this other program, and somehow we just connected and we chatted, and we just had a chat. This was about 4 years ago, Kiko. It's like how time does pass so quickly. And just some of the things that we talked about back then had a huge impact on, I suppose, the way I saw things and what happened in the past. And, yes, integrating all the tools that we've learned, and how grateful we are to have all these tools. Many people don't have these tools and just stay in that postponed state. So I just wanted to acknowledge that, because it's, thank you from me, and thank you to everyone else that's, that's listening. And, if you're getting anything from Kiko, if it's an aha moment or anything you want to share, just put it in the chat, because we'll share it in this conversation. And I know that's going to give her a kick as well, that people are watching. So, all right, let's get back to you. So that was your journey to get to where you are. So you've done all this study, or it's self-discovery, you called it. It's awesome. So you went on self-discovery, because how can you actually help other people if you haven't helped yourself? So you went on this journey of self-discovery, and suddenly you found your calling. You found, what you're here for, and how you can put your assets to the best use, right? So tell us more about that. So how did you fall into what it is that you do now? And then tell us what it is that you do now, and then we can have a chat about relationships.
Yeah, so I help people to find and keep a lasting relationship that is fulfilling, right? I help people to rekindle the passion and love in the relationship. I help people that are struggling to leave a toxic, abusive relationship to actually find their power and find their sovereignty and find their self-love again, and build themselves again, and create a life that actually is more fulfilling. So all of these aspects of relationship is where we navigate dating. I help a lot of people, like, I spend a lot of time helping people with matching Tinder profiles, and what to say and what not to say on dates. And, one of the things that I find very scary today is that people jump from relationship to relationship, and they don't spend time cultivating, creating a relationship that works. They don't know. And that's where it's like direction in relationship, right? But what do I want? What does serve me? What kind of relationship do I want? Right? Because you can say, I want, like, a lot of ladies come to me and they say, well, I want this guy that is wealthy and tall and this and that. I'm like, does that guy will have enough time for you?
Mm. And do you think
how much quality time do you want? Is that person will have the energy to be loving and kind to you? What kind of person do you want? And when we start to date, people don't know. And then I think, like, okay, when we start relationships right, get your values right. Get who you are and what's important for you and what matters for you and what fits in your lifestyle. Make time and space for a beloved. Like, you want a loving relationship? Do you have two lamps in your room? Literally. Do you have two sides in the bed? Or you have like a single bed and no room for anyone, right? Mm. So how does it start? I went to a Tantra seminar, and I met my first Tantra master that is very dear to me, very dear. And I remember I was in the circle of women, and we were doing this womb ceremony where we were transferring energy from our heart and our wombs. And I literally felt like I jumped out of my body. I went out in space, and I got, I'm going to be a Tantra teacher. I'm going to do this stuff. That was like, that didn't come from me. That comes straight from out there. And then it was a straight download. And after that, I went and I saw my teacher. I said, I want to practice. I want to learn. And he said, you are a goddess awakening. And that night, he prepared this beautiful ceremony for me. And that's where my tantric journey opened. And then I awoke as a goddess of love, as a goddess of orgasm, as a goddess of power. And I understood that my power was love. And that's where the journey started. But after then, it's history, because a lot has happened since.
So, geez, there's a lot that you said there, Kika. It's so again, you just had a moment. You had a moment where you knew this is for you, like because of the experience that you're going through. This is your calling. That you know, this is your power. You want to be able to express and help other people to experience this as well too. You know, love it. Love it. So then, getting back, you said you're helping people with dating, with relationships, and it's interesting. Do you think because it's so easy today, you got electronic dating, you got the internet, everything else. It's like you got a small goods board out there. And so people don't put in the effort because it's easy to just go on to your next person and not put in the effort. All right, because people say, you know what, I want to meet someone where, you know what, my heart just goes. Right, that moment when you meet someone and your heart just goes. Now that happens, right? But tell me, is that the moment that is ultimately going to work? I don't know. Or is it something that you work at and before you know it, you didn't realize, but you're chatting to someone and suddenly your heart goes, which didn't go before. So you went through the work, you developed that relationship and discovered that there's something there. It's like, do you want chemistry? And everyone wants chemistry. Or do you want alchemy? That's an interesting question. Chemistry or alchemy? Because chemistry, like once it fades, once it's gone. But alchemy, you can create something into anything from something and keep it evolving. So it's interesting concept because it's almost like instant gratification or delayed gratification. So what's your thoughts on that?
My thoughts on that is that for a lot of people, they are so hurt and so closed and so shut down when they say they're looking for the love of their lives. And I see that in women a lot. A little bit more than men. I'm being judgmental here. That that's like, oh, if I only find the right guy, or it's like, why can't I find the right guy? Why can't I find the right person? And then my question is always, if the right person show up for you right now, the perfect person, they might don't look like the prince in the horse, with the cape and everything. They might look like your gardener. I don't know what the hell, right? Like they might look like somebody that is not there, but that's the right person for you. It's like, because maybe your values, and we go back to the values. What do you really need? What are you really feeling? What really fulfills and rocks your heart? What do you need to thrive and feel good? Right? Because also it's like, how do they have a guarantee that it's going to be forever? There's no guarantees in relationships. That's one thing. You can sign papers, you can do everything right. Still, there is no guarantee that that's going to work. It's an everyday cultivating, like you cultivate your garden. You don't water it. If you don't love it, it's going to die. Or it's not going to give fruits that are sweet and juicy and happy for you. So relationships is the area we need to know ourselves. We need to love ourselves. We need to be able to see another and understand another person. We need to understand what we're feeling, what we're needing, and when we need, what we feel. People don't know. It's so simple. What do you need to be happy? A lot of people don't know. They think that their house and the, you know, and I want to illustrate something. I was married with a multimillionaire in the Silicon Valley. How fun, right? Like, I had everything, like new BMW, no problem. New computer, no problem. Anything I wanted, any trip, anything. I had it all. I lived in a mansion. I had it all. Is that fulfilling? Is that the dream of every woman? And that, like, a lot of girls would say, oh my God, this is all I want. I walked away from all of that because I wanted a husband that could see me, talk to me, nurturing, loving, kind, fun, that would spend time like enjoying being in my presence, that would admire and adore me in a way that I was not just the princess that's taken care of. And I have a wonderful ex-husband. I have a great relationship with him, but we are so different. Because he's an engineer, I'm like the healer, but he's a wonderful person. It's just that was not what made me happy. And the reason why I'm bringing that is because a lot of women, they dream with the prince that will have this castle for them and all this stuff. And they think that that's the right guy, right? The tall guy, the rich guy, the this and that and that and that. What really fulfills you is beyond this the stereotypes of society, beyond the successful altogether person.
Yeah, interesting you say that because, yeah, look, maybe this way. I love what you just said because a lot of women, and suppose guys too, or men, they dream of that person, right? But here's the question. Who would you dream about once you have that person? Because that's the person you want to go for.
And
who would you dream about if you had the prince? Because yes, and correct me if I'm wrong, because these are things that I'm learning as well too after, you know, my experience and everything else, and obviously conversations with you. Yes, I suppose a woman does want to be seen, want to be heard, want to be loved, but also now she wants to be ravished by a man. She wants to feel like a woman. She wants to feel that blood ball inside her to come alive again, because she could have everything, but if she doesn't feel alive, then she's going to be dreaming somewhere else. Isn't that right?
Mm-hmm. The healthy masculine is directional, is powerful, and there's a sense of admiration and appreciation, right? And he needs to guide me in somehow, some way, right? So I don't have to be the only powerful one. And and the world is full of powerful women like me now. I love it. I love it. Oh my God, it's coming together, powerful.
Now that's great. That's great. But how much does that? How has that led to the depolarization and maybe men losing their masculinity and then women saying, well, you know, this guy's a wimp now?
Well, and then how can somebody come and take care of me and love me? And how can I relax in my feminine and allow somebody to give me a present? Allow somebody to take the garbage out. Allow somebody to massage my neck when I have been. Allow that person to feel like they matter to me, like that I need them. Everybody needs to feel needed. Mm-hmm. And if I don't allow that man the opportunity to take care of me, to be there for me, he will not be interested to be around. Because everybody likes to serve, consciously or unconsciously. And what's happening is that women are saying, oh, I don't need a man, I don't need that. Then you're the one. Then you really don't need a man, but you do. And you know you do. And you know, when a lot of times women put on unhealthy masculine to cover up the pain that they're feeling because they didn't have a healthy man that loved them. Now, ladies, if you did have a guy that loved you well, that gave you all the love and attention that you needed, that was there for you, that talked to you, that was present to you, that would understand you, listen to you, and be there for you when you needed him, that you could share love, that you trusted him, that you knew that he was yours. If you had one guy that did that for you, how would that reframe your whole love life? And this is for you guys too. If you had one woman that was actually caring, that was not after your money, that was not after your power, that actually loves you for who you are, that was caring and giving, that you could trust her, that she was faithful to you, and she really chose you, and she was right there by your side, how would you be your frame of mind when you think about relationships? What would you think that is possible? The problem is a lot of us didn't know what's possible because you didn't have something good. And I tell you, people, I have seen a lot of happy couples. I have successfully coached couples and people to find good, healthy, happy relationships. It is possible. It's not the impossible. And a lot of people have a frame of mind that is not possible anymore. And I think that's where we need to shift.
Yeah, I agree. And to add to that, I think a lot of people think they're happy and they're not really happy, they're comfortable. So some people are uncomfortable as opposed to being happy, right? And so people think comfort is happiness, but comfort is not growth. Comfort is not allowing them to expand as an individual and grow spiritually, mentally, emotionally, and have the physical experiences the body craves. So how does someone work at getting that? So let's say you're in a situation, a relationship, and it's not going anywhere. You're feeling stuck. You're not fulfilling your needs. What's the first step? What would we suggest, other than people connecting with you? So if you want to connect with Alexsandra, please just put just say please the message. Please DM me, and obviously we'll connect with you. But we'll also put Alexsandra's Facebook page in there as well too, so you can connect with her, because we'll talk about later on some of the things that she does and how you can access some of her books, some of her programs, and also maybe consider the retreat that she's got coming up in Brazil. And I'd be going to that, but I've got another event I'm going to in Hawaii. But next time, maybe Brazil's on the card. So talk about, so what do people need to do so they're in that stuck situation? What's the first step?
The first step is do an assessment of the relationship, an assessment of where you are in your life and where you want to go. And I always say, before you leave, let's try to have the hard conversations. Let's start not blaming and shaming your partner, see where you can get better, and see where the relationship needs to grow, what would be ideal for you, and have that conversation. And make a commitment for a good 6 weeks to work on the relationship and get help. Because if you are doing it the same way you've been doing up to now, it's not working. So you need somebody to help you through this process. Like people say, oh, I can do it alone. Or we've been trying to do it alone. How's it going? And the second thing is to have that conversation now. The first thing I tell to everyone, like a simple thing, if you're listening now, and you are in a relationship that's not working well, I want you to write 10 reasons why your partner is good for you. 10 reasons why you're grateful to this relationship. You're alive, you haven't left me, you're still breathing. That's enough. I could start there. You're still breathing. Oh, honey, you're breathing. Oh my God, what it's to a point that even one look or one gesture gets us so irritated because we're so, oh, this is not working. That story is so big in your head. So start changing the story in your head. What are you grateful for in this relationship? And then start voicing it to your partner. 10 appreciations throughout the day that are sincere and authentic. I appreciate that you are here with me. I appreciate waking up and looking at you. Or if you don't, then you can say something else, right? But authentic, because that will start you reminding yourself, why are you in this relationship? Your partner will feel seen, your partner will feel appreciated, and then they start to open up. And that's like the first step to start to heal the relationship.
Wow. So
and then work on yourself.
Okay, so I suppose there's three things three questions, three scenarios that we can help people with. And that's the first one. Let's say you're stuck in a relationship, but you want it to work. So how do you rekindle? How do you start over again to work on that relationship? Well, what you just said, that 10 lists of things that you're grateful and appreciate, and share that with your partner every day, and you do that together. I think it's a great way to reconnect, right? And then start doing work on yourself. And both of you do work individually, and both of you work together. So that's self-discovery and self-growth. If you're not going to do that, you're not going to grow. So that's in a relationship where, you know what, we're stuck. We need to go back to the drawing board and work. What about if you're in a relationship, let's say this scenario, and you just know it's not for you anymore? You want to move on, but you don't know how to move on. You don't think you'll find anyone else. So what's the tip for that person? And then the last question, what if you had a wonderful relationship and you lost that person? You know, when people lose people in their life, they move on or they pass away, for example. How do you work on yourself to actually reconnect and open up again? Because it's all about relationships. You know, there's three areas, I think, Alexsandra. You know, the one where you're stuck, but you want to work on it, can you rekindle it? Two, you're in the relationship, you're stuck, and you realize it's no longer for you, it's expired, and you don't know how to move on. And three, what if your partner's passed away and you're looking for love again and you've been lonely? How do you get back into the game?
Passed away or move on or left you for another person or whatever, all the things that happen. Right?
So those three areas, I'm sure you've had clients in those three areas all over the world, right?
Well, I think some people may be content in a relationship, but they know that it's more. And that's a place too that we need to acknowledge. Sometimes people are just complacent and yeah, it's working, but they're not really happy. And then they start to be bitter and the relationship has this little, right? But they are not really fully appreciating their partner and being appreciated, or they don't believe it's going to change, and then they become like comfortable being uncomfortable. And well, so let's first address, because I think the worst thing that can happen to somebody is to be in a relationship that is not working and not having the courage to move and stay stuck for a long time. I think that's kind of like the worst thing.
That's the postponing of your life, right?
I'm working with two ladies right now that I'm like, oh my God, they're powerful, they're financially independent, and I'm like, what the hell are you doing with this relationship that is not working, right? Like, it's like it boggles my mind. I'm like, this powerful woman that got it all together is putting up with all this stuff. Like, one of them was with a married man, and I'm like, hello, you she's a doctor. It bothers me. It's like, at least make peace with it or leave. Like, do one or another, right? Like, so how does this? First, the person needs to find what they need, where they are at, what's going on. Like, do an assessment. What's really going on? What's working? What's not working in this relationship? How you want to be better? Is this going to change? And then people realize, well, this is not going to change. That person that is stuck may realize, well, this person is really not going to change. They're not going to leave their wife or their husband, or that the relationship doesn't have the possibility to get better. Or it's a toxic, abusive relationship. This person is not. Once you know that, and it's sad, because in the world today, there is still a lot of people that don't believe that they can do better. And they're terrified to do that. And that could be fear of abandonment. And that's where, like, really get a coach, get a therapist, get someone to help. I don't think it will be an easy journey to get out of that place. I really need to. You can, it's possible, but it is hard. And this is where you call somebody like me or get a therapist and work on your values and work on yourself. You really need to do something, and you don't have to stay like that. You can say, oh, but we've been together for a long time. I don't even know what would be like to be. It maybe would be one to be alone.
Yeah,
it would be a new life. You don't know what is possible.
And that's the key, right? If you think if nothing changes, nothing changes. So the first change has to be you. You need to start working on yourself again. As you said, Kika, get clear on what's important to your values. Start working yourself. Start looking after yourself. Start exercising. It's hard in the beginning, right? But when you start looking after yourself, and you start feeling better about yourself, you start to expect better in your life. But if you're letting things slide in your life, your health and your thoughts, the books that you read, the people that you're hanging around with, then you're not going to expect much, because that's what you think life is, and you're just in that postponement of life. So love that. So if anyone's in that situation, guys, your first step is get help. Reach out for Kika. Reach out here, MBX Institute. Give us a call. And we'll just have a chat. And what's your next step in terms of helping you break through to explore other parts of yourself so you can be a better quality human being, and then attract those relationships, because this is a work that you need to do. Now, what about the third option? Because we've got a question here. Michael Series in the house, and he said, I haven't been in the game for 47 years. All right, so Michael's a wonderful gentleman and a great friend. He's a student, he's a colleague, he's a friend now. He's a trainer now in NLP, became an NLP trainer, so shout out to Michael Series. And you know, his wife passed away. Geez, it's how time flies. About a year and a half ago now.
I have a happy story to tell you.
Yeah.
I have
Right.
a 79-year-old client that his
Great.
wife passed away, and I know him for years, and you know, it was kind of sad. He told me she passed. She had Parkinson's. He took care of her for 8 years. Devoted husband. She was 20 years younger than him. He never expected that. So it was very hard. He was devastated. He thought his life was over. I worked with him 3 months. Okay, it took a little longer because he's older. It was a little bit slower. And I saw him on Valentine's Day. I introduced him to this lady.
Oh my God, you're matching people with Mount Kicker.
Hi, 9 years old. He found love again. And I met this lady, and I think I know the perfect man for him. But you know, I talked to her about him, but I didn't know it was gonna go. But turned out they're so happy together, and it worked. And to see somebody at 79 years old going back into the game, you know, and I had to go dancing with him. I had to go shopping with him. I had to build him up again. He was like, the whole thing. I was so happy to do that work. And that was like the biggest win on Valentine's Day. When the day before he said, I have a date with her, with you going up. So if you are a younger person, you're not 79, and you're hearing this, and you got your shit together, look. If it's possible for that guy, it's possible for you.
Well, love the story. Absolutely. It's possible for anyone. So what's the first step? Because obviously getting hold of you is important to start doing some work with you. But what's the first step for someone who's thinking, how can I get back out there? What, again, I need to work on themselves, but what's a tip you can give them?
So, okay. Make room in your heart, make room in your house, make space in your life for somebody you love, right? I want a relationship. What's the first thing? Physically change things in your life and imagine in your home and make room for somebody to be there. Put another thing beside your bed. Make room for somebody to be there. If you have an old mattress that you were using with your ex-husband, your ex-wife that is full of fights and bad juju in there, just fucking get that shit out of there, clear, smudge everything, clear, bring new energy in. Okay, that's first step, because when you do that, your mind is going to clear out.
Well, you know, what you just said there.
Making room to yourself to have love in your life. You're starting to believe and put that energy out to the universe. Hey, I'm ready, bringing somebody. Put that make a little altar, put a flower for your beloved every day. I got chills. Like that, you know. I'm going to tell you what happened before I had 8 months ago. I left a relationship a year before. And I went to this journey of like heal my heart and build myself again. After COVID, that was a bit hard financially. I paid $100,000. I built myself. I got strong again. I went to the gym. I'm lifting 400 pounds with my legs. I'm a fucking lioness again.
Oh my God, look out.
It took me a good 6 to 8 months to rebuild me because I was broken. I was devastated. And I built myself, but then I found myself, I'm like, I want a relationship, and I had all these men around, and I was like, I can't say yes to anyone. There's nobody interesting. And I would start going out on dates, and I get excited. It's like, you know, like nothing. I was not open. And then I watched the Elvis movie. I was like, I really love somebody because I love the songs, and I came up with
great movie, hey, Elvis movie. I was only talking about it to a friend last night. Oh, Elvis movie, I love Elvis.
And I had this desire of dancing with somebody. So what did I do? I cranked up the music, and I was in my kitchen, and I danced. And I'm saying this, and I hope that everyone that wants to find love does something like this, okay? The relationships you have in your life, they might went down to shit, forgive my French, okay? But at some point, they were great. And they were good. And there was some point in those relationships where you celebrated the love, and there was fun, and there was passionate, and there was good. There was goodness in every relationship you've been in. Otherwise, you wouldn't be there, right? And they might end up badly because it ended. It doesn't mean the whole thing was bad. That's one thing to understand. People think it's, oh, that relationship was bad. No, the end was bad. There was a good time in the relationship. Celebrate the good time. So what did I do? I started dancing with myself, celebrating all the ways I've been loved in my life, all the wonderful relationships that I had. And oh my God, I started to feel that love. And then I started crying, feeling all that love that I've received throughout my life. I'm 48 years old. I've been loved. I've been devastated and hurt too. And I've been through all kinds of hurt. But I picked up all those moments of that I feel loved. And I swear I danced for like 1 hour. And when I finished dancing, my heart was overflowing with love, because that love that I felt and received at those times before, they're still mine and they still exist inside of me. And I can call in at those times anytime I want. And when I did that, the week after that, I went dancing with my friend. This guy walks in, and I was like, "Ooh, he's kind of cute." And then he looked at me like he owned me. From the minute he looked at me, he possessed me. I could tell his mind is like, he said, "She's mine." Anyways, the rest is history. A week after that, I was a Sunday night. I was in my house. I invited him to come over. We were cooking dinner together, and he said, "Do you want to dance?" And he put music, and we started dancing. Now look, it's 1 week to manifest. 1 week.
Wow.
We are still together.
And that's still going strong now, right?
It's going great. And
oh my God.
I'm saying this because I want you to believe. And you know, even me, I'm a relationship coach. I had a little bit of a turbulence in my life. You know, if the relationship is not working, it was good for a while, but if it's not working anymore, you grew to a different direction, you can accept it. And you can accept that you can create it again. You're not done. You're not done at 100, you're not done at 79. Obviously, we have to tell the story. But you can start over, and you can start, well, you know why your relationships can be better now? Because you're better. You're evolving. You went through some stuff and you got out of it, and you're in the other side. And even if things are hard now, you know that you can do it again. And the most important thing in relationship is this resilience of be willing to start again. You're not done. And then for the women that tell me, I have to tell you that some people said, "Oh, I don't have sexual energy anymore. Oh, I don't have," you know, I have worked with like 65-year-old woman that says, "Oh, you know, I don't feel like my," we started to do the eggs. We started to do the awakening of the body again. She started to do the work. She started to become multi-orgasmic. And see,
how good is that?
it is too late. So for those of you that are in your 30s, oh my God, somebody broke my heart. You know, that person 5 years from now, that may not be so important to you. I hate saying that. Nobody's irreplaceable. There's so many people on this planet, and you can always get better because you are getting better. So don't stop, you know, and start with this. Make room for a beloved, make room in your heart. Start celebrating the ways you're being loved. Start to celebrate that you can be loved again, and start on a journey of loving yourself and making room in your life, in your heart. And know this, that yes, maybe up to now you had bad stuff happen, but you can change and you can find something different because you're different, and you can attract something awesome. And this is your time to actually have a loving, fulfilling relationship in your life. If you are listening to it right now and you're longing to be loved, or you might say, "Oh, I don't believe my husband will ever have that again. Oh my God, he's 70," or like, "Oh, the kids are gone now and he doesn't get erection anymore. Oh, she's not interested. She's going to menopause." All of that can shift. The body can heal. You can awake. The passion can come back. You just need to decide that you want that. And then here you go. You have a reluctant partner and you want a better relationship. It's not working. If you try to make it work, it doesn't work. At least you know it's not going to work. You say, "Bye-bye, thank you. I'm going to go on my journey. I want some things that work in my life now. I have a sense of dignity. And I think if you're over 40 years old, you have a sense of dignity that you want things to work in your life. You work hard. I don't care who you are, where you are on the planet right now. You work hard,
Kika,
where you
look,
are, and
look,
you deserve
Kika,
it.
we've gone about 45 minutes already. We can go on for 45 minutes. It's like we can go on for hours here. And I
Sorry.
just want to make sure everyone, look, we'll drag on a little bit more because I mean, I love talking to you. But, guys, what I want to make sure is you got something out of what we're talking about. If you're ready to connect to someone, open up your heart, you want to start feeling this again. I'm sure there's something that Kika said to you today that you thought, my God, I can get this blood pumping through my heart again for me to experience this. Then you know what? Reach out, leave a message, and Kika will get hold of you, or get to a Facebook page and have a look at the courses you can get online, the books that you can purchase, and also consider the retreat in Brazil, which is a tantric retreat for you to get into your body and experience all these sensations in order for you to develop those relationships. So that's what you can do. Now, Kika, I want to finish off because we talked about relationships. So let's get a bit juicy now. The last 5 minutes, let's make it juicy. So let's say you're in a relationship, you really want to work on how do you make it juicy in the bedroom? What are some tips that you can help, that you tell people that, you know what, if you want to up your game, if you want to up your orgasmic experience or that intimacy or that sensuality that you have, what would be some of the tips that you have in your book and that people can access if they get to your page? What would you share? Give me 2 or 3 to finish this off.
3, be present.
Be present.
Be present. Don't be thinking about somebody else, something else, or how it's not working. Feel the skin of your partner, feel the smell of your partner, feel your own smell. Turn up the volume on feeling what's happening now. Number 1. Number 2, breathe. The 3 keys of Tantra: breath, movement, and sound. Now, breathe. When you breathe, you become present naturally. Sound expands pleasure. Now, ladies, if you are looking for an orgasm and then you're stop breathing, don't make sound. Where does it go? Exhale. You're gonna find it when you exhale. Exhale with a sound that amplifies the pleasure in your body. There's 3 things you can do: breathe, be present, and make sounds. Like that's a start, right?
Breathe, be present, and make sounds. Really get that auditory anchor firing off. Of course, I know for some people that's also acknowledges that they're present, they're there. They're activating different senses within the body when that happens. What else have you got for us, Kika?
I got a little bit, I'm getting some skin. So here's the thing, like there is the modalities of touch, right? So let's just realize this. Very important to understand to become a good lover. Like just very simple. When I'm touching up, I'm exciting, I'm awakened. When I'm touching down, I'm calming and soothing. You want to excite your partner up. Now, if you do this up and down thing, like sometimes when people don't know how to touch, they do this up and down. That's irritating. Don't do that.
Okay. Up all the way it is.
We want like a side, maybe like, now you can touch with the tip of the fingers. We can touch with the whole palm. And we can touch with the back. Now, the last thing, every folding is an erogenous zone. So foldings, erogenous zone. So if you want to spend time to tantalize and open, go through the foldings and spend extra time in the foldings. And wait, remember, up, it's exciting. Down, it's calming. Okay, just like quickly, like a little bit of a tantalizing.
Look, those 4 tips alone can amplify a lot of people's intimacy and sexual relations. I guarantee that. So guys, put that in action, and you know what? You want to come back to here and report and say, oh my God, here's what's happened. Or just get hold of Kika and let her know, because, like myself, we do this work to support people, and when we know that it's landing someone, helping them make a difference, then that's all the change. So guys, look, I need to get going. Oh, your gift. What's the gift? What's the gift you got?
10 tantric sex secrets for greater sex, love, and intimacy tonight. It's a little video. It's 25 minutes. If you go to my website, tantricsexsecrets.com or divinekika.com, and you download 10 Tantric Sex Secrets for Greater Sex, Love, and Intimacy tonight. You will love it. You don't need a partner to do that. If you do it with your partner, it's great. It's my gift to you.
Awesome. Thank you so much. So do that, guys. divinekicker.com, or what was the other one? We'll just put that in the chat. We'll get our girls to put that in the chat. So divinekicker.com or
tantricsexsecrets.com.
So go to that, guys. You know, Alexsandra Kicker, I just want to say thank you so much for being here. Thank you guys for listening. We've gone almost 50 minutes, our longest podcast today. I want to thank everyone. We're going to say goodbye to Facebook. Guys, we got our Modern Day Practitioner Workshop coming up Wednesday night. Look out for that or register for that. And next week, we've got another special guest all the way from the UK, and that's going to be later on, Sydney time, I think 6:30 or 7 o'clock. So look out for that too when we post that. So guys, thank you so much. You hang on here, Alexsandra. But to everyone in Facebook land, we'll see you next time, and I appreciate you being here.
You're the man. They need to follow you and understand about themselves with you and do the work with you, because that will help them to become a better lover and a better people and have the relationship they want, because you help people to see themselves. You have helped me, and I highly recommend MBX Institute to anyone that wants to better themselves and learn about neurolinguistics, all these things, these beautiful things that you teach people. You really open people to heal their traumas and everything that is in the way for somebody to become a wonderful person and live a happy, fulfilling life. So thank you for your beautiful work.
Thank you. Everything that she says, listen to her. All right, guys, I've got to go. I will talk to everyone soon. Alexsandra, thank you so much. Just stay there.